Hi, Wolfpack fans. I'm Jeff Grabbley.
I'm Tony Haynes.
And I'm Matt Chasnow.
And this is Pulse of the Pack.
Rivalry weekend in college football has arrived, and here in the Triangle area, that means the annual Thanksgiving feast between old rivals and NC State and North Carolina. 114th meeting coming up Saturday afternoon at Kenan Stadium. Kickoff is at 3:30. Wolfpack trying to win its fourth in a row in the series. So we're going to talk about that and more. I'm Tony Haynes along with Jeff Grabbley. So here we go, heels and pack. And then the area was hit with a figurative earthquake on Tuesday when it was announced that Hall of Fame coach Mack Brown will be coaching his last regular season game for the Tar Heels against NC State on Saturday.
Yeah, that was kind of a bombshell that happened here on game week, and they don't know if he's going to coach in the bowl game. They are qualified for a bowl, but he will not coach next year. That basically was the announcement, and this is something that I think has been brewing since last year, when I think a lot of people thought that Mack Brown would retire after last year. He decided to come back with 3 years left on his contract, not including this year. And I think there was some friction in there with administration, there was some uncertainty, and then all of a sudden the decision is made that Mack Brown is out at North Carolina after this year.
So now the question is, and we'll have to wait until Saturday to find out, does it motivate the North Carolina players, or is it a distraction? And if you're one of those players, many of those players like you just mentioned, that thinking about in your mind, well, if Coach Brown's not going to be here, perhaps I'm going to look to move somewhere else through the transfer portal. We don't know. It's each individual player probably that's going through their minds right now. When it comes to motivation in a game like this, I don't know if there's any such thing as extra motivation, right? Let's win one for Mack. Well, for North Carolina, especially the players that have been in their program the last 3 or 4 years, they just want to beat NC State. You know, they've lost 3 in a row in the series. If you're a North Carolina player, you don't want to go out and forever have to talk about the NC State-North Carolina rivalry and say, I never beat them.
Right.
You know, you were 0-3 or you're 0-4. Whereas NC State's got some older players now who really have the opportunity to say, hey, we beat the Heels 4 times. And all the former players, and you know this, you talk to them and you ask them, what was your record against North Carolina? They can't tell you what their record was against anybody else, but they can tell you what their record was in their careers against the arch rival Tar Heels.
And that's the beauty of a rivalry. And whether this game is played at the end of the year like it has been in the last few years, the COVID year, it was in the middle of the year, but prior to, about a 6-year period before they started playing at the end of the year, this game was played sometimes in the middle of the year.
That's right.
And so I think it adds even more to have this game at the last regular season game that these two teams will play. It's going to be Mack Brown's last regular season game at North Carolina, could be his last overall game. And if you're NC State, you're playing for a bowl bid. It is as plain and simple as you can put it on a piece of paper. They have 5 wins, need 1 more to become bowl eligible, and they would love nothing more than to go to Chapel Hill and steal one from the Tar Heels to qualify for a bowl, because North Carolina already has qualified for a bowl. And it's interesting, Coach Doran was asked a lot about the rivalry on Monday at his press conference, and is there any extra motivation when you play a game?
Rivalry week, excited, about our opportunity this week, the oldest rivalry in the league. And it's always a hard-fought, emotional game with them, and I know this one will be no different. So great opportunity and matchup between two teams that don't like each other a whole lot, and so there's a lot to play for. And excited, to get up there and winning games like this. It's about executing, it's about making more plays than them and fewer mistakes, and not getting too caught up in the emotions of the game, being emotional but not letting the emotions control you. And so excited to go up there and play.
He didn't downplay it. He said, no, this is a different game.
Yes.
This is a different game. We should treat this differently.
Right.
I'm not going to treat it as the same game. And you're absolutely right, because what you say in public is not what is being done behind the curtain or in the locker room. This is a roster of players that would love to do nothing than to beat North Carolina again. After a dominating game a year ago,
I've been covering press conferences for 40 years. I have been waiting for a coach to say the week of a rival game, no, this is not any other game. It finally happened.
It did.
We ought to open up a wing in the College Coaches Hall of Fame for Dave Dorn because he said that.
The quote Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
We can do that.
I mean, I think I've been waiting 40 years. Maybe Chuck Amato treated the game differently. It was very important to him, but even the players are trained to say, no, it's one game in 12. We treat every opponent just the same. Well, you'd like to say you treat every opponent with the same level of respect, but there's going to be more chirping going on in this game than other games. A lot of yapping, a lot of intensity, plenty of emotion. You got to be able to harness that emotion if you're going to execute, but you know it's a different game every time you walk into the stadium. Whether it's at Keenan or it's at Carter Finley Stadium, you immediately, for me, when I walk down on the sidelines about 10 minutes before kickoff, the electricity environment, it's at a different level for these games. You feel it, you can't ignore it.
Pulse of the Pack is sponsored in part by Coca-Cola. Crisp, refreshing, and irresistibly tasty. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with the Ford Crew. Black Friday.
What's happening?
It's the extra shipment of Ford trucks and SUVs.
Serious SUV capability.
Ford F-Series, best-selling trucks for 47 years.
Bronco and Bronco Sport.
I can smell the adventure now.
It's Black Friday time.
Yeah.
Right now, get 1.9% for 60 months plus $93.77 in total savings on a 2024 Ford F-150 Hybrid.
Mr. Wolf, you're all set. Complete perimeter protection installed and monitored 24/7.
No matter who you root for, we can all identify with the best in smart home security. CPI Security is the official security and smart home company of NC State Athletics. CPI Security. Identify yourself.
From protecting your teeth and gums, to restoring your smile, to sponsoring your local team, Tar Heel Periodontics is the premier periodontal practice of the Triangle community. Our team of highly skilled doctors provide dental care as individual as you are, working with you to build a personalized treatment plan to create the beautiful, healthy smile of your dreams. With offices conveniently located across the Triangle and Central North Carolina, you're never far from the Tar Heel Periodontics family. Visit our website or call now.
This segment of Pulse of the Pack is presented by Coca-Cola.
And tonight we're live from Sports and Social in Cary for Wolfpack Weekly with Dave Dorn. I'm Tony Haynes along with Matt Chasnell. So we're going to start off with safety DK Kaufman. First off, the thing I want to ask you, because I've noticed your body language when you're returning kickoff. And when the ball sails over your head and you really want to go get it and return it, and your body language is obvious. You said you can tell you're frustrated, you get it a chance. When you come in on Sunday or Monday, do you immediately check the stats of the incoming kicker to find out what their touchback ratio is?
No, so Coach Goebel, he'll tell us what the ratio is, but I just kind of go look at the kickoff coverage. I don't really care about the touchbacks. I really just look for, like, how fast is the kickoff team getting down there.
You're really good at it. You make quick decisions. What's the key to being excellent at returning kickoffs?
You really just can't be scared. You got to run through the smoke, like. That's the biggest thing. I don't think it's hard. I just think that you really do just have to run through the smoke. I look at from the second the ball lands to what the kickoff coverage is. And if they at a certain point, I'm like, okay, I'll still take this out if it was to be 6 yards deep or something like that.
You got the ball up into the air, but you're reading the kick coverage, and you're trying to figure out how deep the ball goes in the end zone. But you can only look at either the ball or the kick coverage at one time. So what's the order of operations there, and at what point do you make the call, and is it ever muddy?
When the ball kick, I'm looking at the ball. After that point, it's just a gut feeling.
Just, right,
yeah, it's kind of just like a gut feeling. Like, you know, if that ball hung up there might be a little bit too long, then you know, like, all right, I probably shouldn't.
You
take
can
this.
feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it.
You start to feel it.
I think we do a real good job of blocking, like a great job. I think Coach Goebel, like, he really put an emphasis on that, and that's really the biggest thing. You know, like, if you look at all the returns, like, go look at them blocks too. Like, it wasn't just all me. Like, they really out there pancaking people. Like, yeah, they out there blocking for real. So just that, and then just me, like I said, being able to run through that smoke and being able to read them blocks.
In all of the year of things to try to figure out and crunch the numbers, one of the most impressive things has been the play of return man D.K. Kaufman, the transfer safety out of Auburn. Right? So he didn't even start the year returning kicks. It was Hollywood Smothers. And Smothers gets a little dinged up, and then D.K. Kaufman is in there. And right now he's averaging 36 yards per return. Now he only has 9 returns, so he doesn't qualify for the ACC lead or the national lead. But I looked over the numbers, and I don't see anybody averaging 36 yards per kickoff return unless they have 2. The criteria is you got to average 1.2 returns per game. Well, how many times do you get 1.2 opportunities to return a football in the kickoff game? So it's been fun to watch D.K. Kaufman not only play safety, but the way he has physically returned kickoffs. He did it against Stanford with 164 yards. He did it against Duke. It would be a great opportunity for him to do it again in Chapel Hill. To kind of maybe erase a return that NC State fans would love to forget. Gio Bernard.
Yeah,
maybe D.K. Kaufman.
Punt return. Yeah.
D.K. Kaufman could become a Gio Bernard in the lore of NC State football.
Well, I think D.K. Kaufman has been one of the Pac's better portal pickups this year. Not only the kickoff return, but he's fit in nicely in the defense. He's played well at safety. In fact, I think he got the ultimate compliment from his position coach, Joe DeForest, reminded him a little bit of Tanner Engel. You know, he says he's got some Tanner in him.
He does.
And, you know, Tanner, we know what a force Tanner Engel was as a free safety at NC State. So that's quite a compliment that he received from Joe DeForest when D.K. Kaufman as a safety being compared to a player like that.
So, you know, you talk about run defense and all. I thought Brandon Cleveland had a phenomenal game at Georgia Tech. He had a career-high 6 tackles. And I also thought that Davin Vann was sorely missed in the third and the fourth quarters with all of that pass rush, with all of that spying the quarterback. I think he would have made a difference. So hopefully Davin Vann, Coach Dorn said on Monday that he was better, felt like he was going to be able to play. But I think that would be a great thing for a young man from Cary, North Carolina, to end his regular season playing against North Carolina in Chapel Hill. We just hope he is healthy enough to do that.
All right, Mr. Wolf, you're all set. Complete perimeter protection installed and monitored 24/7.
No matter who you root for, we can all identify with the best in smart home security. CPI Security is the official security and smart home company of NC State Athletics. CPI Security. Identify yourself.
Years from now, what will you remember? That. It's a small thing, but you know the small things in life feel the biggest. Now that is something to remember.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with the Ford Crew. Black Friday.
What's happening?
It's the extra shipment of Ford trucks and SUVs.
Serious SUV capability.
Ford F-Series, best-selling trucks for 47 years.
Bronco and Bronco Sport.
I can smell the adventure now.
It's Black Friday time.
Yeah.
Right now, get 1.9% for 60 months plus $93.77 in total savings on a 2024 Ford F-150 Hybrid.
From protecting your teeth and gums, to restoring your smile, to sponsoring your local team, Tar Heel Periodontics is the premier periodontal practice of the Triangle community. Our team of highly skilled doctors provide dental care as individual as you are, working with you to build a personalized treatment plan to create the beautiful, healthy smile of your dreams. With offices conveniently located across the Triangle and Central North Carolina, you're never far from the Tar Heel Periodontics family. Visit our website or call now.
So let's take a walk down memory lane. What are your favorite 2 or 3 NC State, North Carolina games?
Well, I mean, just to look back recently, I think you got to go, 2021, the Devin Leary to Emeka Emezi twice after
in 90 seconds.
In 90 seconds, that is unheard of, and to have it happen here at Carter Finley Stadium.
And you needed the onside kick by Christopher Dunn, which he recovered. He was at practice on Tuesdays.
Was he?
Yes, he was.
That's one of his. He won the Groza Award. But to me, the image I'll always remember is Dunn coming up with the football and standing straight up and holding it straight into the air for the 57,000 at Carter Finley to say,
kicker,
"We got the pig. Yeah. I have recovered the football."
It looks as if NC State recovered. NC State has it.
Run the football here.
They're going to throw it. Leary's going to take a shot. Has a receiver. It is caught. Touchdown, NC State. NC State comes back to win in one of the all-time greats.
I go back to the year after that when it's Ben Finley against Drake May.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks before the game, Ben Finley, I don't think is even on the depth chart.
No, I mean, he's running scout team.
Yeah, that's right.
He was the fourth quarterback used, and he goes over there and plays really well. And the aforementioned Christopher Dunn ends up getting the winning points, kicking the field goal in overtime as North Carolina missed a field goal opportunity there.
In Chapel Hill for NC State 2 years ago, threw a touchdown pass in that game, and wide open is Devin Carter down the sideline, stiff-arming the defender, and dragged down inside the 5. It's play fake here. Finley setting up, going into the end zone, and it's caught. A touchdown. Finley back to throw, looking down the sideline, back shoulder, it's caught. Into the end zone, Devin Carter, touchdown, NC State. Looking to send this to a second overtime, and it's perfect. And he missed it. NC State wins.
My third one would be another field goal, 1990, when Damon Hartman kicks a 56-yarder at the horn in a game that had nary a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was 9-9 when Hartman trotted out there to try a kick from 56 yards out of the hold. I believe it was Terry Jordan.
Play of the ball game, and everything up for grabs. Here's the snap. The ball is down. The kick is up. And it's gone! Wolfpack wins! Oh my! A 56-yard field goal by David Hartman!
But what I remember about it is I was shooting the game with Jay Jennings, great photographer at WRAL. So he was planted at the goal. He was going to follow the ball over the goalpost. My shot was I'm going to ISO on the kicker and the holder and see what happens. And so I ISO'd on him, and all of a sudden he makes it, and then I get run over by the sideline of NC State people as the players are running on the field, and I was able to get my composure enough, pick up my camera and run on the field and get the celebration. But that was one that sticks out in my mind for not only the way it ended, but how I ended up on my backside after the kick was made and had to recover.
You survived the celebration.
I did.
You know, I'll go back to 2010 in Chapel Hill, and the shortest Hail Mary pass in history when NC State was trying to come back, and I think the Pack had the ball at the Carolina 3-yard line, and Russell Wilson, scrambling around as only he could do, just kind of threw it up for grabs in the back of the end zone because it was 4th down. You might as well throw it, right? Otherwise, you're going to turn the ball over at downs, and that's, you know, he was a smart player, and he knew that, so he threw it up.
Touchdown, NC State. What a great job by Wilson to give his guys a chance. Watch the ball.
And then a little bit later on, T.J. Graham had an 82-yard punt return to kind of put that game away. I'll never forget the shot because we had it on Coach O'Brien's TV show, and he pointed it out that if from the high midfield camera shot, you could see T.J. Graham running down the left sideline in front of the NC State bench. And it was one of the officials that was trying to keep up with him which was an impossible task. T.J. Graham was a world-class sprinter, right? And, I mean, you could see T.J. Graham going this way, the official was just dropping back there. But he was hustling. It was Coach O'Brien, I remember, he said, watch this, watch the official.
Graham will take this inside the 15. Get a block. He's got some room. Look out. Graham out to midfield. Still on his feet. No flags. T.J. Graham is gone.
Hey, you can expect the unexpected, I guess, in a lot of these rivalry games, right?
Probably will again on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
Pulse of the Pack is sponsored in part by Carolina Ford Dealers. See your Carolina Ford dealer, proud sponsor of NC State Athletics.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with the Ford Crew. Black Friday.
What's happening?
It's the extra shipment of Ford trucks and SUVs.
Serious SUV capability.
Ford F-Series, best-selling trucks for 47 years.
Bronco and Bronco Sport.
I can smell the adventure now.
It's Black Friday time.
Yeah.
Right now, get 1.9% for 60 months plus $93.77 in total savings on a 2024 Ford F-150 Hybrid.
Mr. Wolf, you're all set. Complete perimeter protection installed and monitored 24/7.
No matter who you root for, we can all identify with the best in smart home security. CPI Security is the official security and smart home company of NC State Athletics. CPI Security. Identify yourself.
From protecting your teeth and gums, to restoring your smile, to sponsoring your local team, Tar Heel Periodontics is the premier periodontal practice of the Triangle community. Our team of highly skilled doctors provide dental care as individual as you are, working with you to build a personalized treatment plan to create the beautiful, healthy smile of your dreams. With offices conveniently located across the Triangle and Central North Carolina, you're never far from the Tar Heel Periodontics family. Visit our website or call now.
Pulse of the Pack is sponsored in part by Coca-Cola. Crisp, refreshing, and irresistibly tasty. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
How about hoops? We got both the men and the women. They're logging some miles this week.
One in San Diego, the men are there on their way. Women in the Bahamas, they've taken their first game. But speaking of the post play of NC State, and you pointed this out on Coach Keats's radio show, you gave him the scenario. If you had 23 points and 10 rebounds, that guy would be an All-American, correct? Right. Well, NC State has that person. And his name is Brandon Middlebrooks or Ben Huntley Hatfield. You figure out which one you want to call. Yeah. They have been really fun to watch. Haven't played a lot together, but that could potentially come. But, you know, particularly Middlebrooks, he's a bundle of energy. He's got already almost a career high in 12 blocks. Both can really defend the perimeter a little bit. So it is a different post play than a year ago with DJ Burns and Mo Diarra, which they ended up playing together toward the end of the season. But this has been a fun duo to watch. Middlebrooks try to advance from his Texas Tech game that he had last year from a scoring standpoint. But I like the way both of them have played so far. You don't need both of them to do well and score 20 points, but if you can get that productivity from the unit of your post players, that's a good day.
So, Kevin, if you had a center who was averaging 23 points and 10 rebounds per game, he would be listed as an All-America candidate. Well, you have such a center. It just happens to be two people with Brandon and Ben Middlebrooks. It's obviously been very productive position early in this season. They're splitting minutes. What's the buy-in been like with these two guys?
Well, it's tough. I mean, both guys want to play a lot more minutes, and both guys want to start. And, you know, what we're getting, I think both guys understand is that just be productive with your minute. There's nobody on our roster right now that can, the way we're playing and getting after you and running offensively and defensively, that can play 32 minutes a game. And so, we're getting those guys, not just those two, but we're trying to get everybody to buy into about, hey, taking advantage of your minutes. This is a team where, we're fortunate. There's not a lot of separation between Ben or Brandon, and they both are really good basketball players. Very rarely do you have two really good bigs that can play and fit your system, and those guys are good, and they're adjusting. They're both taking advantage. They both bring different things to the table, and I like where they both are.
Against Colgate, they combined to score 30 points. Friday night against William and Mary, they combined for 21 points and 16 rebounds. Under what scenarios might we see them on the floor together?
Well, you will. I mean, they're going to be opponents that we play against that may play two traditional bigs, and we may at times play two traditional bigs. With those guys, we just need more practice with them, being on the floor together. What's made them really good is because they battled each other every day in practice, and now we got to get a little practice time with those guys getting on the floor and obviously being able to play, together. I don't think either one of them are really what we call a center. I think both of them are, forwards, and we just got to figure out, all right, when you're out there, who's going to play this position, who's going to play that position, who's going to be in this spot and that. But neither one of them are traditional post players. They both can step out and shoot the three. They both can, go off the dribble. They both are, good passers at times. And so I like, the way they can complement each other.
Ben said in practice that Brandon's made him better, and he thought vice versa. He also laughed and said that he was pretty glad to not be playing against Brandon in league play anymore. He said that's a tough scout. He's a tough cover, and it's kind of nice to have him on his team as opposed to somebody else and have to worry about him.
Yeah, I mean, they really foul each other. They bang each other. I mean, they get after. It's a really great, healthy battle, but it's really helping. Like, you want competition, and not only those two. I think we got, we can put 10, 11 guys in practice that really would get after each other and make each other better.
They're also really different. I mean, they have different skill sets, right? Ben's forced a lot of fast break turnovers at the top of the arc. Brandon's scored primarily with that little hook shot, and he's also gone to the free throw line a ton and been really good at the free throw line. They have different skill sets that you can use at different times, don't they?
Absolutely. I mean, Brandon's doing a great job getting to the line. Brandon is, we've been able to throw the ball inside to him, and he'd be able to score when we need a basket. He's actually, stepped out at the top of the key and made a three. Ben's been our energy guy. Ben provides so much energy, and I'm trying to get Ben to be the same guy he was against Texas Tech the entire time last year. And when he comes in, he's made that impact. It's hard to reverse the ball, at the top to his man because he's really in the passing lane.
As you said, Brandon's 1 for 1 from three-point range. So how bright is that green light at the moment?
Well, right now it's green, and they determine how green it stays. And Ben's was green at one time, and then it faded a little bit. So, I think that was, Colgate. He was so open, and you wanted it to go in, him and Ish, and both of them, I think they missed 5 of them. And like, all right, okay. So I was ready to move them down there to the guards and post breakdown and guards and post breakdown, but they didn't make enough threes, so I just kept them down there where they were at.
When you're going through the early stages here in this schedule, you're normally going to be playing against teams that have 1 big and 4 perimeter type players. Once you start getting into tougher stretches in the schedule, in the conference and a few of the games they got coming up, you'll see teams that will have 2 big guys on the court at the same time. And I think at that point we'll eventually see the 2 Twin Towers playing together.
Because both of those guys
absolutely.
can run the floor.
Yeah.
Middlebrooks and Huntley Hatfield can flat run the floor. They can defend the perimeter.
This I think is going to be a better transition team than last year's team.
Yeah.
And a part of it is what you just mentioned. If you got 2 bigs can run the middle lane of the floor, it puts a lot more pressure on the defense. Well, thank you for tuning our way. Jeff Radley, I'm Tony Haynes. Have a great week.